Hi there, it's Karen at Corrie Paper Crafts, independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Central Scotland. Welcome to today's project, which is this one here. It's a gift box again, designed specifically for something, and it was a gift, one of the gifts rather, that I sent to Janice, the lady in my downline team, who attended on stage at home with me last week, although we were together in spirit only because we couldn't meet up in person. The box that I made for Janice was the same as this, but I used different cardstock and different designer series paper, and I'm making this one as a little sneaky peek of a bundle that's coming soon. So I'll let you see that as we go along. So this is made using Bumblebee cardstock, and the designer series paper is from a new designer series paper pack, which I'm just going to remind myself of the name, Dandy Garden it's called, and it's a 6x6 paper pack, so I will show you that as we go along. Please excuse me. So let's get started. To make this, I'm going to use Bumblebee cardstock again, so you'll need a piece of cardstock which measures 9 inches by 10.5 inches, or in centimetres that is 22.9 by 26.7, and you're going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper, one which measures 5 3/4 by 2 3/4 inches, and one which measures 5 3/4 by 1 1/4 inches. And I need to tell you what the centimetres for that is. So 5 3/4 inches is 14.6 centimetres, and 2 3/4 is 7 centimetres. So this piece here is, what did I say, 14.6 by 7 centimetres. Therefore this will be 14.6 long in centimetres, and 1 1/4 is 3.2 centimetres. So the long side and 3.2 centimetres that way. So apologies for that because I hadn't added that onto my notes. So let's do some scoring. And we're going to score on the short side. Here's my scoring tool. So on the short side, score at 1.5 inches on both sides. So just one side and then the other, and that means that both these panels are exactly the same size, but you could score it at 1.5 and at 7.5. And then we're going to turn it to the long side and score at 3, 4.5, 7.5 and at 9. And that's all the scoring done. So let's get the scoreboard out of the way without knocking the tripod with a bit of luck. And then I'm going to fold and burnish on all my score lines. So again, this is a gift that I made for Janice, and it had some goodies in it. Get off a little bit of glue. It had some goodies in it to help sustain her throughout on stage at home, and I'll actually show you what was inside it just in a second. So inside I popped 2 packets of salted peanuts. Janice likes salted peanuts, so I tried to give her a few gifts of sort of varying variations, I suppose. So that's all the scoring done. So this is actually going to be the front of the box here, which comes up this part, and then this is all going to come up and over, and that's going to be our closure at the top, like so. So there's quite a bit of cutting to do, and it is all in the cutting, so hopefully I won't get it wrong. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to turn it in a way that suits me, But looking at it from the top here and the bottom here, these two squares here closest to what's at the bottom of the box just now, although that's going to come up to be the front, but lying that way around, I'm going to cut into these two squares here, but I'm going to cut into them in a certain way because I want to adhere them to the bottom of the box rather than the side, so that when I pop those packets of peanuts in, they don't actually catch. So I've cut in here, keeping the straight edge on this rectangle here, but I'm not going to cut here. I'm going to turn it round, and I'm actually going to cut up that score line that way. So just very carefully take your time, because there's absolutely no rush, like so. And then I'm going to wedge in slightly at either side of the square like that, and then I'm going to do exactly the same on this side. So I'm going to turn it round this way, cut in from the side, keeping the straight edge on the rectangle and removing the score line on the square. Now you can cut up this way, or you can turn it over and come in from the other side and cut up this way instead, which I'm going to do, although I don't much enjoy cutting that way around, but I've managed for this one. So wedge in to either side of the square like so. So far what we've done is cut into these flaps here, and you've got these bits which are going to form the sides of the box here. So then I'm going to turn it round, and what I want to do is cut straight down here and straight down here, and then I'll show you what else we do after that. So I think I'm going to try and be brave with my big scissors. So I'm going to cut straight down here, removing the score line as I go and keeping the straight edge on those rectangles, and the same on this side, keeping the straight edge on the rectangles and removing the score line onto the squares. And then I'm going to remove that top square like so on both sides, just like that. So this is what we're left with now that we've done that part. And then I'm just going to wedge into both sides of these squares as well, just exactly the same on both flaps, just like that. And that's what we're left with. So I want to trim all these flaps down a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and do that just now, and I'm going to get my trimmer to do that. So for these flaps here, I'm going to make sure that I fold in the bits that I don't want to cut, and then line those up to about 3/4 of an inch, like so, and come round and do the same on the other side with these flaps here. Line that up to about 3/4 of an inch here and chop them off like that. And that's all the cutting done. I just need to round a couple of corners, and I'm going to use my detailed trail punch to do that. So first of all, this is what we're left with once we've done all the cutting, and I'm going to round the corners on this narrow strip at the top here. So I'm going to pop this side in and hopefully not shuggle the camera too much, and this side, there we are, and that's the corners rounded, and that's it, ready to stick our DSP on. So because this is going to be facing this way round when we put the box together, I want my designer series paper to be this way up, like so. And before I stick all that down, I'm just going to very quickly show you the gorgeous papers in this pack. So as you can see, I've used a fair few pieces already. It's just lovely. I like it more than I thought I would when I first saw it. It's the designer series paper that we used on stage at home to make some cards, so we were able to order this extra early, and it's coming soon for everyone else to order, and it's going to be in the new January to June mini catalogue as well. So just to very quickly flick through, you've got quite bold floral patterns on one side, and some little bumblebees as well, but some more subtle patterns on the back side. So if you don't like one side, there's usually always another side that you're going to like. I like that one, that's Misty Moonlight, and I like, you know, that's quite nice as well actually. I like that one with the dragonflies. And in a previous video you'll have seen the punch that matches these as well. Hopefully you can see that, and this punch actually does cut out these dragonflies here, so really quite handy. So I'm just going to pop all that back over to the side. So watch out for some more projects coming soon, and watch out for the products actually coming soon as well. So where's my Stampin' Seal? Here it is here. So I'm just going to add some Stampin' Seal to my DSP panels and pop them on to my box. There's one for the front panel and there's one for the panel on the lid. So making sure you're keeping your paper the right way round. I'm going to pop that on about there. And again, because this flap is going to be coming round to the front of the box like that, I want to make sure that I stick my paper on that way round as well. So I need to make sure that I've rounded it on the right corners, as well as cut it with the pattern facing the right way as well. Just to make sure, oops, it's sticking to me. It is very sticky stuff. I'm just trying to get some seal into those corners as well. There we go. And then I'm sticking it to my fingers. And again, I just want to line that up and make sure that there's an even border all the way around. That's not perfect, but it'll do for me. So what I want to do when I put the box together is these tabs are going to stick to the bottom of the inside of the box here, and these are the bits that are going to come up and round to finish off the box and give you that nice neat closure on the front. So I want to add some tape to these sections here on this side. So I'm going to turn it round just because of the shape, oops, of my tape. So pop a couple of pieces of tape on each of these. I probably don't need to worry too much about it being really neat because they're just going to be sticking inside the bottom of the box anyway, so I can just do the tearing bit of the tearing tape. But then I want these panels to be slightly neater, so I am going to enlist the help of my little ruler just to get it nice and flush at the edges. Where are you? There you are. And again, because this is actually going to be a gift that I'm going to send to someone, I'm going to put some extra pieces of tape on these panels to make sure that they stay stuck and that there's not any gaping at the sides. So bear with me while I put these on. Almost done. There we are. And then the last part just in the middle, and I've just made it with my tearing tape. So there we go, that's not too bad. So I'll pop this in the bin. There we are. That couldn't have worked out any better. And I'm just going to give all my pieces of tape a little burnish with my paper folder, and the same on these bits here. So I'm going to attach these tabs to the bottom of the box first before I actually take the tape off the other pieces. So these parts first. And it's just like putting a box together really. We want to join this folded edge here to this straight edge here. So just take your time and make sure you line them up nicely on both sides, just like so, and just give them an extra press down to make sure that they're stuck. Getting a bit of a mess here, and then I'm going to do one side at a time. I'm not going to take the tape off both sides at once, because that's when you're attaching one side and the other side decides to go a bit squinty and stick to all sorts. So I want to keep this flap out of the way, and I'm looking for this folded edge here, and that is really where I want to line up the top edge of that side of my box, just like so. Give that an extra press down with my paper folder to make sure that it's well stuck, and just the same on the other side, like so. And again, I want to keep this flap out of the way, and I just want to make sure that I line the top of that section up as neatly as I can. There we are. And give it an extra press down with my paper folder to make sure all those pieces of tape are stuck. And that's my box made. And then these flaps here are the flaps that come over the side to make sure that if it moves a little bit, you can't actually see into the box. So I'm going to pop my 2 packets of peanuts in. There we are. And I'm going to fold the box over like so. And another piece that belongs to this suite, or this bundle, is, and I had it in my hand a little minute ago, here it is here. It's braided linen trim in, oh my goodness, what's the colour? My mind has gone blank. I know the colour I'm trying to get. It's a colour that I've not used very much until now, and I'm trying to find the card on the back to remind me. For goodness sake, Karen. Mossy Meadow. I knew it had a lot of M's in it, but I just could not get the colour into my head. Oh dear, I think it's time for a cup of tea. So, something that I've not done for a while is I'm going to start at the front of my box and just give myself enough to tie a bow, and then I'm going to wrap it round 1, 2, 3 times over like so, keeping it straight, or as straight as I can. Pull those a bit tighter, and then cut the end. Where are my ribbon scissors? I've got a funny feeling someone's just going to knock on our door, and hopefully my hubby will hear them and answer the door, because I'm sure I just heard a van outside. I am expecting a delivery. So here we go. Hopefully wrapping it round won't make tying a bow quite so traumatic, but it is me, so you never know. But wrapping it round like that also helps to hold the box closed, so you're not fighting with holding the box closed as well as tying the bow. There we go. First attempt, didn't work. What a surprise. Oh my goodness. Right, through you go. it's getting a hold of it at the other side. Attempt 2. Honestly, I never ever have this much trouble when I'm not on camera. So let's have one more go, and if it doesn't work this time, then I'll strop off in a huff and do it off camera and then come back once it's done. There we are. So it seems to go every which way, but I'm not really going to worry too much about that. I'll try and pull that tail down a little bit this way. There we are. So pull those back a little bit. I don't quite want the loops that big. There we are, and I'm going to stop faffing because one can only faff so much on camera before you get bored. There we are. So that's not too bad at all, and then you can fix your braid to however you want it to look. There we are. So that's quite pretty, I think. And then all that's left is to do a piece of stamping, and I'm going to stamp in Mossy Meadow. Where's my stamp set? Here we are. So there's a stamp set that goes with this as well, and it's a dragonfly garden, which is just lovely. I first saw it and couldn't really make up my mind, but then we used it on stage at home and I really did like it. And we're going to use this little sentiment here, may good things grow all year long, and we're going to use these little dragonflies as well, just to add a little bit of decoration. So I've already got those mounted on a block, and I'm actually going to get a slightly bigger piece of cardstock. So this is Whisper White, as I said. Got some ribbon fringes on it. So I'm going to stamp in Mossy Meadow ink with my sentiment, which is just really lovely. So I'm going to pop that in the middle. I'm going to punch it out, so I'm not worried if it's straight. It's not too bad. And then I'm going to do a little bit of background stamping, but I'm going to stamp off to do that. So I'm going to use my Bumblebee ink, and I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of paper because I need to stamp off a couple of times. So I'm going to make sure that my dragonflies are the right way up. And I'm going to stamp off once, twice, and then stamp over the top. Just like so. Oops, put the ink on it first, Karen. I'm trying very hard to mess it up, so I don't want, I'm going to pop some more there. I think I probably would have been better, oh, I'm not liking that there, but never mind, you get the idea. I would have been better probably punching that out first like I did the last time, and then, as you guessed, I'm going to have to look up the name of the punch that I'm just about to use, because I'm fine until I start filming and then I absolutely completely forget the name of the punch that I'm using. It's the Label Me Fancy punch, which is this one here, which also punches a slot for ribbon or a little hole there. So I'm going to punch this out. A little bit off the end, and I just want to make sure that, probably could have done with a longer piece of card so that I didn't have to faff about like I'm having to do now. I think that's probably as good as we're going to get it, so I want to just make sure that it is nice and straight, and then punch. Probably would have been easier with a longer piece of cardstock, but that's what we're left with. And then something else that's part of this suite is just these lovely, lovely little ladybirds. Or we call them ladybirds in the UK, so I don't know how well you can see that. The detail is just amazing. I'll try and turn her around so that you can get all the detail on her wings. So they actually do fit on our mini glue dots, and I've actually got one already stuck to a glue dot in advance, ready just to pop on. So we'll take her off and just pop her on the bottom of there like so, and then add a couple of dimensionals to the back. So one here and one here. And then I'm just going to pop my sentiment on the side of there like so. And what I'm trying to do is, apart from stick it on squint, what I'm trying to do is keep it near the edge but have a kind of even gap here and here, and that's my box made. So from not being a fan of this designer series paper to being quite a big fan, I'm going to enjoy working with this paper, I think. So that's my two boxes. I'm not sure which I prefer. I really like them both, but I think that's probably my favourite. So I hope you like that, and I hope you try and make that yourself. Let me know if you do. I always love to see the projects that people have made, and I've got one lady who quite often sends me photos of the things that she's made, that she's watched on my videos, and it's just lovely. So there'll always be a link to the products that I've used down below, and a link to my shop if you like any of these. They're not quite available yet, but hopefully very soon they will be. So thanks for watching, and until I see you next time, take care. Bye bye.